What's going on, guys? What's going on? We're here for the wrap-up show. John Schaefer with you. Padres pick up the win in game one of the series against the Marlins, and we want to hear from you, interact with you on this Thursday night. So you got me on this Thursday night. We'll get into Jim was at this game on a date with Laura. So you got me here tonight. Want to do the shout-outs as always. So as you make your way in, please let us know where you're watching from here tonight. Please, as a reminder, if you're watching this live or on replay, you got to subscribe. This is a show for Padres fans. We've got year-round content. So please subscribe. Please hit that notification bell as well. Please make sure to smash the like button. And also make sure to please follow us on Twitter, at John Schaefer on Twitter, at Jim Russell SD, at John and Jim for our radio show. I'm going to get to some of these comments. This is a nice win. Considering everything of yesterday, you play 2 games in Cleveland, you travel back. Bob Melvin wasn't feeling well, non-COVID related illness. And you pick up a win against the Marlins team that's been pesky and good this year and has good starting pitching. And Jesus Luzardo was really good, except against Manny Machado. Machado was better. I thought Nick Martinez was excellent. We got decisions coming up here in terms of who's going to stay in this rotation and who's not, because you can't have 7 pitchers in a rotation. But these are really good problems. And the bullpen, when you only have to throw Garcia and Rogers, you got a really good bullpen. When you only have to throw Garcia and Rogers, you have a really good bullpen. And this team is 17-9, and they came into the day tied for their second best start ever in the first 25 games of a season, behind just the 1998 Padres. And they're playing good baseball. 17-9 overall, just enough offensively here tonight. And we said this, with this good pitching, you don't have to score 5 runs, and they've been scoring 5 runs. So again, we got a lot to get into. We're going to tell you about this win for the Padres over the Marlins. We want to interact with you as always. If you want to make sure I get your comment, and as a one-man band here, please consider using the Super Chat function. If you use the Super Chat, I will make sure to get your comment. We'll get those on screen. It's a great way to support the channel. If you're watching on replay, you can hit that thanks button down below. That's new to our channel. We appreciate your support. And again, if you're just getting in here, make sure to subscribe. We've got year-round Padres content for you. So let's start with the shout-outs because we're just getting going, in this Thursday evening. Cliff, thanks for hanging out. There's no question about that. There's no question about that. I mean, this tear he's on, leading baseball in F-WAR, leading baseball in B-WAR, leading baseball in WAR, and leading baseball in everything. 1,100 OPS, 7 home runs. There's not a more locked-in hitter. There's not a more locked-in hitter than Manny Machado. I'm with you, Phil. I mean, that's exactly how he's played. Kimberly, I'm with you, right? I think I probably tweeted that out at some point over the last 7 or 10 days too, because it's true. It's true. So John is doing the countdown as Jim would have called it an okay week. Exactly. Well, they didn't really hit the ball. Listen, man, they all count. They all count. Marlins may or may not be good. They might be, by the way. They have really nice starting pitching. I think they got some arms in their bullpen. They got good talent in the minor leagues. Jazz Chisholm is an absolute star. If he was on a franchise like the Padres or one of the more preeminent franchises, everyone would talk about him. But it's such a regional game. Frank, I'm with you. Yes, Cliff, it is. Sam, Jim, dude, he's soft. He's so soft. He's dating. Jim. Jim. Yes, Boogie. He is. He was at Petco tonight in Rich McGuire's seats. Rich is a loyal viewer, a longtime listener of us on Extra 1360 iHeartRadio app. He was in Rich's seats, which are awesome seats. I want to say, what are they? Just up I might be confusing this. I want to say it's just up the third base side, behind home plate, 10, 12, 13 rows up. Just wonderful seats. So Jim entertaining here tonight. Yeah, you're not kidding. You're not kidding. Carter, I know you're joking. 619 Cam, good to have you with us, man. It always is. Yes, a lot of people. Feel free to comment right now where you're watching from, or Jim is soft. I think both are acceptable right now. And again, if you want to get those super chats in as well, we can get your comments and questions here today. Yeah, thank you, Sam. I really appreciate that. Really do. It's fun to hang out with Jim too, but when we got to go solo and got to get into baseball and talk about this team and get deeper into the weeds, we're going to do that here tonight. We're talking baseball here tonight on the wrap-up show. I agree with you, Adrian. I think it's a really good point. I think he's lived up to it. I mean, what else could you ask of him? I mean, ultimately, he's going to be judged on team accomplishments. I thought Eric Hosmer had a really interesting quote with Kevin Acee earlier this week about they need to validate. I'm paraphrasing, validating Manny Machado's career by winning a championship. with him and for him, because that's kind of the missing piece for Machado right now. But he's done everything else. He's on a Hall of Fame pace. Look at the numbers, double them because he's not even 30. Or get close to doubling them, and those numbers would be automatically into the Hall. I mean, he's not just pacing for the Hall of Fame. I think he's pacing. If he puts together 3 or 4 prime years here, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Petco Park, Brisk, Petco. What happened tonight, by the way? I don't have the Giants. What's the Giants score? I know they lost the first 2 games convincingly to the Dodgers. What's the score in that game? If someone can put that in the chat. I don't have that in front of me. Thanks for hanging out from LA. If you're a Padres fan, very welcome. This is funny. Oh, yeah. He was probably like buying her like popcorn during the home runs, So Giants lost. Were they playing the Cardinals or the Dodgers? I'm trying to find someone. I thought they were playing the Dodgers. Are they playing the Cardinals now? Let's see. Hugo, thanks for hanging out from the Bay Area. Alex, as always, thank you for hanging out with us in the chat. Thanks for your support of the wrap-up show. Means a ton. All right, Alex is on his way to Doctor Strange. Our producer on Extra, Brent Sperry's watching Doctor Strange. I think he had a 9:50 showing tonight. Yeah, this is true. I mean, this is true. 20-6 is better than 17-9, but tough to kick 17-9 out of bed, No, he actually has not seen it. I think he said he might see it tomorrow during the day, potentially. I'm not sure. Boise, thanks for checking in. Carter, thanks for checking in. Trevor, thank you. Thank you. Jeremiah, always good to have you from out east. What a game. What a win. Just a clean, crisp win. Virginia, thank you. Alex, again, thank you for your support of this channel. Thank you for the super chat. If baseball had the captaincy, it'd be Manny for sure. There's no question about it. He is the captain right now. What impresses me most is, first of all, he makes it look so easy. Secondly, the fact that he's doing this in the absence of Fernando Tatis Jr. makes it even more brilliant. Thirdly, he's doing it as part of a lineup that isn't fully hitting, obviously. I mean, it's Machado and Hosmer. I think Ha-Seong Kim has had moments. He was 0 for 3 in this game. He hit a couple of balls hard. He's had a nice start to his year. But you look at Cronenworth and he's struggling. He's hitting 200. You look at Nola, he's hitting 200. Profar could not be in a deeper slump than he is right now. 4 for his last 45, something in that neighborhood. I think it's worse than that. Something like 4 for his last 48. He's in a really bad way. Trent Grisham has not hit. He's under 160. Trace Thompson, it's been limited. Matt Beatty's done absolutely nothing. Manny Machado's the captain, and that is undisputed. I think when Tatis comes back, Manny Machado's the captain. I mean, you got your veteran leader that's steering the ship of this team right now through the first, 6th of the season. We're about there, 26 games, times that out. You're about a 6th of the season. So that's meaningful. I mean, that's not a week. That's not 2 weeks. It's a month, So thank you, Alex, for the super. Greatly appreciated. If you want to make sure to get your super chat on the wrap-up show here tonight, you can hit that function. You can hit that button down below. Yes, I agree with this as well, iOS guy. I do. No heart attacks tonight from the bullpen. But again, when you have Garcia and Rogers, you feel really good. It's everyone else. It really is. Luis, thanks for hanging out with us in Utah. Cam in Bay Area, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Jake in Vista. Daniel right here in Mission Valley. Love this. City Heights. Yes, Wally Pipham. Who wants to replace Jim? Who wants to join me tonight? Who wants to hang out on video with me tonight? I could probably arrange for it, to be honest with you. Let's see here. Phil's in the OB. I mean, his changeup, you're not kidding. I mean, some of these changeups that he throws, and he's highly effective with it. He doesn't throw it entirely in the zone. I want to say something like, it's some ridiculous percentage of his changeups he doesn't throw in the strike zone, but he gets swings and misses on it. I mean, his arm action on his changeup is ridiculous. He gets some filthy swings. I mean, he gets some guys off balance with that changeup. And again, he's still coming into his own and pitching in the big leagues. I mean, it's been forever for Nick Martinez. I'm really high on him. And the big question tonight, we'll get into it, is what on earth are they going to do? All good questions. All good problems. But what on earth are they going to do with 7 starters? I don't know what they're going to do. They've got some tough decisions to make, but those are good, tough decisions. Kerry, I mean, good question. He was at Petco Park. So Who knows what he's doing now? Date night. That's all you need to know. What's this? My dad's work got his group Padres suite for Monday's game without me. Ah, that sucks. That sucks. Monday started that series against the Cubs, right? I got Ben Fadden in the chat talking Friars. Good to have you with us, Ben. Yeah, I'm with you. After yesterday, 18 innings, you got the full gamut of everyone tomorrow. I say everyone. I don't know if you go for Rogers for a third straight day. Have they done that yet? I don't think they've used him a third straight day. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if you go Garcia tomorrow, but this is a good point. By not using more than two, you got 6-7 guys available tomorrow. If you use more than two, you probably cut your bullpen in half. But tonight they only took, the top off the bullpen. So we'll see if they would go back to Rogers for a third consecutive game. But that's an excellent point. That is an excellent point. And these starters are working deep. Nick Martinez going 7 innings. It's only the third outing the Padres have had this year. I say only. That's a lot in baseball. But they've had 3 7-inning outings, and Nick Martinez has one of them. And today was as well as he has pitched, So, yeah, thanks for the update here. Giants trailing 7-1. So that's good. That's good. Let's see here. Get to a couple of other comments. Okay, so it is the Cards. For whatever reason, I'm looking on an iPad right now. It scores. Oh, there it is. St. Louis 7, San Francisco 1. It was just off my screen. So, yeah, that's good. I mean, listen, the Giants, we heard Gabe Kapler so outspoken. Hey, not only are we going to score, we're going to pile on. They're getting pounded by people right now. They're not scoring. Let's hope that continues. Let's hope that continues. You're not the only one, Anthony. You're not the only one. Very cool, Michael. Thank you for wearing the wrap-up show shirt. I got the wrap-up show cap on tonight. If you want to check out the merch while you watch the stream, there's a link down below. Got wrap-up show merch, John and Jim merch. I should just put John merch up there, to be honest with you. But we got T-shirts, we got hats, we got sweatshirts. We're selling stickers. We've had a lot of you loyal viewers check this stuff out and pick it up. So thank you, Michael, for your support of the wrap-up show. And yeah, hopefully it's a lucky charm. It has been a lucky charm so far. The hat has been a pretty lucky charm. I'm going to get back to some of these shout-outs in a moment. I want to get to the super chat that has rolled in here from 619 Cam, one of our very loyal viewers here on the wrap-up show. Thank you, Cam, for the super chat here tonight. Just getting going. I mean, this is a great question. The respect question with Manny. Arenado seems to always overshadow Manny, which is frustrating. By the way, some of these strike zones lately, you're not kidding. I mean, Angel Hernandez. I mean, that's all you really need to know on a night like tonight. But, for Manny to take Luzardo deep twice, and his stuff was good. This wasn't like an off night for Jesus Luzardo, who's had a really good year, had a really good game. And for Manny to tag him twice, and he's barreling everything right now. He really is. The respect thing is a convoluted question for me. I mean, I think it stems back to Baltimore. I think it stems back to Los Angeles. I think that perceptions become realities. I think he's been labeled. I think a lot of the labels, if not all of them, are completely unfair. If you've watched him play in a Padres uniform like we have, like all of us watching live or on replay have, and you see his day in, day out effort and grind and how he helps the team win, that all of this stuff is an absolute joke. I mean, it's really a joke. But when you're labeled, and it's hard to escape that. He's one of the very few baseball players that transcends and polarizes in today's game. He is. To me, he's not polarizing. To me, he's just a deadly offensive player. He's actually a deadly two-way player. And he's playing the best baseball of his career. And the Padres have Manny Machado in his prime. That's all you need to know. I mean, the Padres have one of the best players in baseball over the last decade in their prime. And they're taking advantage of it. He's taking advantage of it. He's confident and loose and free. And so is Hosmer. And they're benefiting from this coaching staff. And let's hope it continues. It's hard to play like this for 162 games, even if you are a Hall of Famer. But when he gets going, he really gets going. Thank you, Ben, for this, by the way. So they've used him 3 straight days. And that's the thing with closers. I mean, closers on good teams are going to get used, and they have to have rubber arms. And that's the reason why it was never going to be Drew Pomerantz as a closer for this team, because to have a true closer, you got to have someone that can throw 3 out of 4 days or 3 straight or 4 and 5. And they've already done it, at one point in April. So maybe they would do it again. I'm sure they would if they've already done it one time. If he's feeling good, if he hasn't thrown a lot of pitches in these 2 outings, and I don't think he has. I don't have it in front of me. I think it's I think we could see him again tomorrow, depending on the situation. Will, good to have you in the chat. It's been fun interacting with you over the last, who knows how long, months on Twitter and on radio and here in the wrap up show. Yeah, and I'm with you. I'm going to spend a good 20 minutes on this tonight, at least, maybe 30 minutes on this over the next hour. I don't know what you do because Martinez, if I have it right, cannot be optioned. And why would he be? Wouldn't make any sense. Gore can be optioned, but you have to ask yourself, why would he be? Does it make any sense? He's had as good of a 4-game stretch as anyone has in Padres history to start their career. It's not, that might not be factual, but top 5 start to a career. Snell's coming. I think it's going to be based on merit. I heard Kevin Acee with Darren Smith today. And obviously Snell's going to be in this rotation. Obviously Clevenger's going to be in this rotation, but guys have to perform. I kind of like the fact that you're basically putting, you're creating competition in season. This isn't spring training trying to earn a job. This is the regular season trying to keep jobs. And I say keep the best, maybe it's 6. Maybe go with the 6-man rotation. That would benefit guys coming off injuries like Mike Clevenger and Blake Snell. That means though less of Sean Manaea and Joe Musgrove and Yu Darvish and Mackenzie Gore, but Gore's on a pitch count. Gore's going to be on an innings limit. Forget the pitch count. He's going to be on an innings limit this year because he's thrown 50 combined innings over the last 2 years. So I say best 6 have the opportunity. I think that's only fair. Now, who's the odd man out initially? Maybe hide Martinez in the bullpen for 10 days and see how it shakes out. Does someone fail to perform? And then maybe you move Martinez back in. But this is like the 230 million CBT question. What the hell are they going to do with 7 starters? And by the way, they'll have more. I mean, Adrian Morejon's coming. Baez is coming. So, again, good problem. But, Will, like you said, it's a problem. Michael, thank you. Thank you for the super chat from south of the border. Always cool. Thank you again for your support of the channel. If you guys are just getting in here, a lot of people making their way in from Petco Park. Again, if you're watching live or on replay, this is the wrap-up show. Hit subscribe. We really appreciate that. Please hit subscribe if you're a Padres fan. Please smash the like button if you're here. Please follow us on Twitter at John and Jim, at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. Let's see. Do you know the King, right-handed pitcher for the Yankees, consistently throws 2 to 3 innings in high leverage situations when he comes in, a huge weapon? Do you think Clevenger or Snell could be something like that for the Padres? I just don't know. I think guys coming off Tommy John like Clevenger, and Clevenger's been a starter throughout his big league career. I'd be surprised if you took a starter and made him a reliever coming off Tommy John. Because the thing with starting is your routine. And the thing with pitching in the relief, we've seen it maybe a little bit with Dinelson Lamet, is the routine lacks, and therefore it can be troubling. It can be trying for players. And then Snell, who's also battled, I don't know, happenstance, injury over his first 2 years, at least in a Padres uniform, I don't see it. I don't see, you trade Luis Patino and you make this, big trade for the former Cy Young Award winner who's pitching in Game 6 of the 2020 World Series against the Dodgers. And I don't see it, and with the money they're earning, I think it would be Nick Martinez. I don't think it would be Mackenzie Gore. I mean, maybe there's a scenario where you could move Gore. I wouldn't entertain it. Why would you? Why mess with it? I just don't know what they're going to do. I mean, that's, what do you guys think? Comment, please, in the chat. I mean, what would you do with these 7? Obviously, there has to be an odd man out. There's no other way to look at it. And here's the thing, the clock's ticking. Blake Snell's about to be back. He'll be back in the middle of May, but it's May 5th. So what are we, 7 days out? At most, he makes 2 more appearances in the minor leagues, and we're 12 days out, 11 days out. So Blake Snell's coming quickly, which I think is a good thing. Everyone wants him back. Everyone wants him healthy. If you get the pitcher of August from a year ago and you're the Padres, that is, that's a big win. That is a really big win. So, it's going to be, I'm trying to do multiple things here at once, by the way, guys, but it's going to be interesting to see what they do. Before we really get going here tonight, I do want to remind you, as always, about our title sponsor. We're not doing this without Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. Simple as that. I saw Mark today, went to his office, had a T-shirt for him. Really appreciate the support of Mark for this channel. I'm working on a insurance claim right now at my place. He's making it super easy. He really is. I got my homeowners and my earthquake insurance through Mark, but auto, home, renters, life, earthquake, whatever it is, he's going to save you money. He's a San Diegan. He's in Poway. He's born and raised here. He lives and dies on this stuff. was in his office for 20 minutes. We talked nothing but obviously Padres baseball for 20 minutes. We talked about what to do with this rotation with these 7 starters. And we talked through it. And we talked about the options, and we couldn't really come to a consensus. But if you want to talk Padres, Mark's your guy. There's a link down below. You can click on it. You get the insurance quote in minutes. You can find his address and his phone numbers and his email address and his office hours. Mark's a great guy. He's a huge Padres fan. He's a big supporter of this channel. He's the reason we're able to do this night in and night out. So if you're looking to support this channel in any way, please consider Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. His information is up there as well. But Mark Nimitz, Farmers Insurance, Padres fan, San Diegan. Click on that link down below. Let's get back to it. Phil, I'll see if I can pull this up doing the solo show or not. Ryan Christensen, again, filling in for Bob Melvin here tonight, who was under the weather, non-COVID illness. You think about their last 24 hours playing 2 games in Cleveland. The weather was awful, flying home, turning around. Oftentimes they say, and I spent 15 years in professional baseball in the minor leagues, it's not day 1 when you make those trips. It's day 2. It's how do you feel day 2? Which will be tomorrow night. So we'll see. We'll see how the Padres look tomorrow night, and if they can overcome kind of the jet lag and just, it's hard to get up for 162 games, even when you're playing good baseball. Hopefully they will. They're going to face a really good pitcher in Alcantara tomorrow night. Yu Darvish, though, will pitch for the Padres. So, good start to a homestand. Really good start to a homestand. Then they're going back on the road for 10 games. So it'd be nice to get out of this, homestand at least 4-3. 5-2 would be even better. But after winning tonight, hopefully they're able to do that and get to 5-2 on this homestand. So, okay, let's see. I'm just going through the chat right now. People are weighing in, obviously, on what to do here with this rotation. Oftentimes they say, right? I mean, they say it sorts itself out. I don't know if this one will sort itself out, and I don't know how it's going to impact the dynamic of this team if they make, if they put Mackenzie Gore in AAA. I mean, Kevin Acee today with Darren Smith said, he said he wouldn't be. He said this a couple times, by the way, over the last couple of weeks on Extra 1360. And, I'm paraphrasing, but he basically said, I wouldn't be surprised if it was Mackenzie Gore. And it's hard to disagree with that line of thinking, but it's also hard to imagine Mackenzie Gore, who's made 4 starts, and they've all been effective, if not good, if not really good. And he's coming off a really good outing in Cleveland against a good hitting team. It's kind of hard to say, like, how do you go down? I mean, AJ Preller last year said once he's up, he wants him to stick. So now would be the time for Mackenzie Gore to go down. Now, here's the thing. Minaya, Musgrove, Darvish, Clevenger, Snell all make a fortune of money. And that's a factor. Like it or not, folks, that's a factor. And Gore's got options, 3 of them. So that's over 3 years, by the way. He can be optioned as many times as he wants this year. That's one option. Nick Martinez, I think his deal has no options. By the way, I'm not trading any of these pieces, not in May. No way. I'm not trading any of these pieces right now. Wouldn't consider it, not based on what happened last year. And we'll see. I mean, you just don't know about the health of staffs. I mean, you know how hard it is to get through 162, even with 6 pitchers. I mean, shoot, a lot of teams are going to use 8, 9, 10 starters over the course of a year. We know that in today's baseball. So it's going to be fascinating to watch. I really am intrigued. But the way they're playing right now, whatever decision they make, it's going to be hard maybe to fault because they're playing good baseball. And we'll see if it impacts them, in a negative manner. If it is, then, it'll be easy to be critical. But right now it's kind of hard to be critical because they're pressing the right buttons and they're off to this 17-9 start. Gus, this is correct. The Super Chats theoretically support Jim's internet, although Jim's internet is so bad that we might need a lot of Super Chats to support Jim's internet, if I'm being fully honest. I want to get back to a Super Chat that just rolled in, a couple of them actually. Our buddy Johnny, loyal listener on Extra 1360 and viewer here recently on the wrap-up show as well. Man, this is a really good Super Chat, Johnny. This is a really good Super Chat. I mean, I've watched every single game like all of you have as well. It's not been good. I mean, he had the 2 games where you said maybe he's turning the corner. I think 5 hits in 2 games. And that was a nice little stretch considering he's done nothing the rest of the year. And then tonight, 0 for 3, strikeout. He's had some opportunities too with men on base, move runners, get them in, productive outs, situational hitting. I just don't like any of it. I really don't. I think his defense has been good. I think he's made some good defensive plays, but I don't think that's why he's going to play every single day. And this is an outfield that needs some production. And Jurickson Profar is in the slump of all slumps. Trent Grisham is in the season-long slump of all slumps. You do not have a right fielder. Even when Will Myers returns, we have absolutely no idea what he looks like. He's got this, what appears to be a pretty significant thumb injury because he's had to go on the IL, and he's told the media that he might not be fully healthy this year because of that thumb. And then you have this Beatty, Trace Thompson, and Thompson, to be fair, I don't think it's reasonable to judge him based on 10 plate appearances or 15. I don't think that's fair. But he's not the long-term answer, I wouldn't think, and that's not a knock. I just wouldn't think he's the long-term answer. So what is the long-term answer? I mean, they went out and acquired a former first-round pick in Brent Rooker, who's right now in AAA. I don't know. I haven't checked on him. Has he been playing, guys? I know he was on the IL earlier this year. I don't know what he's doing. You have Nomar Mazara, who at points has been considered like a 4A, professional hitter guy, but hasn't necessarily developed into the big league hitter people thought he would. Who else? I mean, who else? You're a long way off from Robert Hassel, obviously. Guys like Josh Mears, I think you're a long way off from. And by a long way, I wouldn't think would be the next call up would be coming from Fort Wayne, guys not on the 40-man roster. So, yeah, Grisham's got a hit. Again, is it masked by the fact that you're 17-9? Yeah, absolutely it is. Absolutely. If this team's 9-17, we're all freaking out. But they're not 9-17. So I think he can get away with it a little longer, and they don't have the options. They just don't have the options. If they had options, again, maybe it would be more of a tired act. But yeah, I think a lot of Padres fans are, when I look back on Grisham's 2021 and 2022, I'm left wondering if he's the long-term answer for the Padres in the outfield. I mean, does anyone disagree with that? Can anyone right now put Trent Grisham on the opening day lineup in 2023? I can't, not based on what I've seen the last 2 years. Just can't do it. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Taco Bell. Over under, we trade a starting pitcher for another bat. I'd be surprised. If it was one of these 7 pitchers. That's how I feel at this current moment. Obviously, here are the names it's not going to be. It's not going to be Manaea. You just acquired him. It's not going to be a Gore. You got 6 years of control. It's not going to be Musgrove, obviously. I don't think it's going to be Nick Martinez in year 1 of this 4-year deal. I don't see why it would be. I mean, maybe there's a scenario. Maybe if you get creative and you get later into the year and these other 6 guys are so effective, you can consider something like that with Nick Martinez, because I think he does have value. I don't think there's any question about that. And then the whole Snell-Darvish conversation. Darvish makes a lot of money. He's owed a lot of money. He's late in his career. What are you getting back? You got to make sure to get the return you should get for someone like Yu Darvish. And to move Yu Darvish, who's like your ace on a potential playoff caliber team, is a little aggressive. And then there's Blake Snell. And the question with Snell is also, are you getting max value for a guy that has pitched a half season for the Padres and was essentially ineffective last year outside of a month? So my hunch is no. I think it's a reasonable and fair question because this team is somewhat lopsided with pitching as opposed to hitting, although they're still 4th in the big leagues in runs scored per game. So my hunch right now is don't. That's my feeling. I think some people probably disagree with that. I wouldn't do it. But we'll see. We'll see what happens over the next couple of months. And I don't think they would consider it before, really trade talks heat up, which would be mid-June. You don't normally see any sizable trade before mid-June. And then, of course, most deals are done between July 20th and August 1st. All right, let's go back to these supers. Airborne Figgy, good to have you back with us here tonight. Know you were in the chat last night live as well, so thanks for hanging out. Hosmer looking good. If he keeps it up going into the All-Star break, do we look to trade him? Another good question. Maybe Lamet and Weathers for some good talent dump contract. Okay, so Hosmer again here tonight had a base hit. Hosmer also walked, so he's getting on base. He's hitting 376. I mean, he's actually had a higher batting average this year than Manny Machado, which is impossible to imagine. I don't know. I mean, this is another. There's so many really good questions around this Padres team right now. Whether it's who gets moved to the bullpen or who gets relegated to AAA. Would you consider moving Eric Hosmer? It's almost comical to think that you wouldn't consider that based on what people have said over the last 3 years with Hosmer. But, new lease on life with Bob Melvin has put together 1/6 of the season like this. That, is it realistic that he does this for an entire season? Probably not to this level. But could he hit, 315 with a 400 plus on base percentage, I don't know. I mean, is that possible? I mean, is that possible for a full year for Eric Hosmer? I haven't seen anything so far that would lead me to believe that this is a mirage with Eric Hosmer. In regards to the possibility of moving a Lamet or a Weathers, I'm 100% on board. Um, I think one or both could absolutely be out the door at some point in 2022. I think if it returns you what you're looking for, whether that is additional relief help, if that's an additional corner bat, if that is even talent that better suits your organization at this time, um, I think that all options should be considered. I've said a lot recently, the last couple of days on the radio and on the wrap-up show. I'd be surprised if Dinelson Lamet finished this season as a San Diego Padre. I really would. I saw Kyle Glazer from Baseball America yesterday said, we pulled it up on the wrap-up show. He said that he thinks Lamet needs the new lease on life, could be a starter again. And he thought the Padres could use a middle infielder, which a reserve middle infielder. I don't know about that. I mean, because of Abrams, I think is what he's saying. And Kim's been good, but what do you do if you need to give Kim or Cronenworth a blow in the absence of Tatis? But how far out are we from Tatis now? I don't think we're that far out. He's doing baseball-related activities. Now he's not swinging a bat. But then again, it's only May. And he's not even eligible to come off until June. So I'm not overly concerned about this reserve infield position. I'm more concerned about the middle of this bullpen. That's what concerns me right now. I think this is a very good point, though. Could they move Dinelson Lamet or Ryan Weathers? 1,000%. Could they tie one of those two players to Hosmer? I don't think there's enough value in Lamet to use him as a linchpin to move Hosmer. Is there enough value with Weathers? I think there's value with Weathers. How much? I don't know. He's very young. He's had success. He's toiling a little bit. I know he's coming off a very good outing at AAA. These are good points. I mean, this is all a possibility. Again, if you're just getting into the wrap-up show here tonight, John Schaefer hanging out with you. Make sure to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button if you're with us on YouTube. Hit the follow button if you're with us on Twitch. Make sure to hit the notification bell. You'll be notified when we go live. Please smash that like button and follow us on Twitter at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD, at John and Jim as well. Michael, thank you again for the super chat from Mexico. How would you justify to the team trading Hosmer if he stays hot and the team is in playoff contention? Well, this has been the question even when Hosmer hasn't hit. This has been a concern among those that are fans of this team, media members that cover this team, that how would the team react based on some of the public comments we've heard over the last 2 years? Manny Machado has been very outspoken in support of Eric Hosmer. They've clearly developed a very strong relationship over the last 4 seasons playing together. Fernando Tatis. Eric Hosmer went to A.J. Preller at the beginning of 2019 and advocated for Tatis to be on the big league roster. Clearly, the relationship is a strong one. Eric Hosmer, as we know, is a consummate teammate. There's no question about that. These are important questions that need to be considered because when you go back to last year's trade deadline, I don't know if they considered the repercussions of making moves or not being able to make moves or trying to trade players that ultimately were not traded. I think they kind of went into it with 1 foot into the pool as opposed to 2. You acquire Adam Frazier without a plan. The plan may have been, well, we're going to move a player like Eric Hosmer, therefore move Jake Cronenworth over to first base, at least in the short term. It never developed. I think now you got to be fully buttoned up if you're going to consider doing something like that, as crazy as it sounds. I mean, if I had to make a bet, if I had to make a bet on it, it would be hard for me to bet that Eric Hosmer would be moved this year. I'd have to bet the opposite side. I'd have to bet that he would stay because of all the dynamics. They've tried to move him before. His relationship with Bob Melvin, at least over the last 2 months, going back to spring training, and then his relationship in this clubhouse and what he means to this team. And if he means a lot to this team and he's producing on this team, then why would you move him? If he means a lot to this team and he's not producing, like 2020 and 2021, then that's a completely different question. That's a completely different conversation. Let me see here. Let me pull out my notes from tonight. Good to have you guys with us. I don't know if we've spent enough time just on what Nick Martinez did here tonight, how good his changeup was. I think this lineup for Miami, by the way, is underperforming. They've lost 5 straight. They've been very streaky. I think Jazz Chisholm is a really good player. They got some sluggers in here like Aguilar, Soler. They got some bats in this lineup. Do I think it's a good offensive team? No, but I think it could be an average offensive team, and I think their pitching is really good. So I thought Nick Martinez was good. Again, Joe Musgrove's gone 7 once this year. Sean Manaea went 7 once this year. Nobody's done it more than one time. And to me, what it's kind of saying, to me, what it's solidifying, and tell me if you guys feel differently. I think it's going to be a 6-man rotation. I really do. Now, is it going to be long-term all year? It's hard probably for that to occur because when you go into a 6-man rotation and let's say someone only goes 2 or 3 innings a couple of times, well, now you're taxing your bullpen every 6th day, and that then impacts the bullpen the rest of, the turn through the rotation. But I could see it being 6-man rotation for a couple of weeks, even longer than that, because I just think they're going to have a hard time telling one of these guys, hey, you're not in this rotation. They'll have to tell one to go from 7 to 6 once Blake Snell returns, but are you going to tell 2 of these guys that you're not going to be in this rotation? Right? I mean, it just seems a little far-fetched to me. And I'm with you, Michael. I'm with you. Bomel in spring training, did say he's against 6-man rotations, but not if it's for the betterment of the team. He said, traditionally, I'm paraphrasing, traditionally he wouldn't be in favor of a 6-man rotation, but if there's a reason to have a 6-man rotation, and right now there's kind of a reason to have a 6-man rotation. Now, can you piggyback? Yes. The issue with piggybacking is Mike Clevenger just threw 95 pitches. What if he goes 6 innings in an outing? Snell then goes 2, and then he doesn't pitch again for 6 days? So that's the issue with piggybacking in the big leagues. There's a lot of piggybacking that goes on in the minor leagues, but they just limit pitch counts, and they just protect it, and they just they chalk it off to development. Say, well, he could have gone 6 innings, but he went 4 because then we had someone behind him go 4 innings. But you can't have Clevenger go 4 innings if he's thrown 59 pitches and he's allowed 0 or 1 runs. So that's my issue with piggybacking. This is interesting from Andrew, and thank you guys for commenting. Thanks for getting involved here tonight in the wrap-up show. If you want to make sure we get your comment, you can always use that super chat function. Great way to support this channel. So Andrew says Nick Martinez can opt out starting next year. Maybe we trade him since he probably will opt out if he continues and can make more than $6.5 million a year. It's an interesting way to look at it with Martinez, who's got this series of 1-year contracts that's like coined a 4-year deal, but it's just a series of 1-year deals. And if you're a starting pitcher in the big leagues that's effective, you're making more than $5 or $6 million a year. So if he has proven his worth here in a Padres uniform, let's say in a half season, and therefore he has value as well because he's only got another $15 million on his deal over the next 3 years. Well, if it is even a 3-year, even if it's just a trade deadline acquisition, because here's a starting pitcher that's got a 3.5 ERA that's been good. Maybe, I just think back to last year, and it's like they were trying to acquire starting pitching, and then they lost starting pitching on the day of the deadline in Chris Paddock, and I'm just so tentative, gun shy, so to speak, about trading away effective starting pitching right now. And maybe that's not the right way to look at it because, like you said, there's 7 guys, and you're going to get Morahone back. You got Ryan Weathers in AAA. You have some other names. I'm sure they'll pop up over the course of the year that are pitching in the minor leagues. They could even acquire, pitching depth, obviously, at the deadline as well. This is a good point as well. And thank you for watching on Twitch. If you're with us on Twitch tonight, greatly appreciated as well. Yes, it's a business of winning. And I've said that a zillion times on the wrap-up show over the last 3 years on radio and on web and on YouTube. I've said it a million times on the radio, and I feel as if I have a really good perspective on it, having spent so much time in the minor leagues, but then also working with staffs that communicate with major league staffs when I was in the minor leagues. And there's this clear-cut delineation, obviously, in the minor leagues where you are developing players, and the major leagues where once you're there, the development should be, in my opinion, thrown out the window in the betterment of the team. And the only thing that matters at the big league level for good, successful organizations is winning. And the Padres right now should be a good, successful organization the way they're spending. So I think it's a good point. I do. This is a big boy business. Everyone there is being paid well. This is about winning and do what is best to win. Now, with that being said, if what's best to win is making a tough financial decision because some of those guys in the rotation are making more money than somebody else, but somebody else is pitching more effectively than the guy making money, then put the guy that's more effective in the rotation. That's what I would say. So I think there's two sides to that coin, but I do think it's a really astute point. I really do. All right. While we have a moment, everyone settle in, relax for a moment. There's a lot of business to get to here on this. What day is it? Thursday night. Game 1 to the Padres, by the way, against the Marlins. If you're joining us, thanks for hanging out with us. Padres over the Marlins, kind of low scoring, well played, crisp, clean game. Manny Machado is the offense with the 2 home runs. Nick Martinez, the story. Taylor Rogers, again, really good. Luis Garcia, who fell behind a couple of batters, or at least the first batter, maybe 3-1, works a scoreless 8th inning as well. So if you're with us, please get your comments in. Thank you for interacting in the chat. And again, if you want to use that super chat function, it is always welcome. We do want to tell you about our partner, Aura Organic. Great company. Their co-founder, Will, a lot like Mark Nimitz, San Diegan, grew up here in San Diego, is a lifelong Padres fan. He's been with this team through the good days and the bad days. He's running a great company, Aura. If you click this Take the Quiz button, you are going to get a discount on your very first order. And this is plant-based nutrition. Every single one of their supplements is plant-based, every single one of them. So I take probiotics strictly through Aura. I get the monthly delivery. It really is. If you've never taken a probiotic, it can be life-changing. It's going to be so good for your digestion. It's good for heart health. It's good for mental clarity. There's a zillion reasons to take a probiotic. I strongly consider checking out Aura if you're interested in a probiotic. They got a really good one on the site. They also have proteins, pre-workout supplements, post-workout proteins. They have omega-3 oils as well. So much more. Sleep supplements, stress supplements. I take all this stuff. I swear by it. Aura.organic. There is a link down below. Great partner of the wrap-up show. Really great people in this company. Again, Will, their co-founder, Padres fan, diehard Padres fan. So if you want to support Aura, San Diego-based business, and the wrap-up show, there's a link down below. You can browse this site while you hang out with us here live or replay. But again, we ask that you consider our partner, Aura.organic. All right, let's get back to a super chat here that has just rolled in from Spencer. Very generous, Spencer. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat. Thanks for hanging out with us here tonight. So let's see. Okay, John, this is Spenny Bats from Twitter here. Tonight is a win that shows this is a different team than last year. Felt really good to get a 2-1 win tonight. Also liked how Alfaro got to start tonight. Okay, so Spenny Bats, thank you for hanging out with us. And thank you for the interaction on Twitter. You were talking earlier tonight, correct me if I'm wrong, about Alfaro starting against his former team, which I did like. You also had the travel day where Nola as the everyday or more regular catcher, maybe it makes sense off the doubleheader to turn to Alfaro behind the plate. And Alfaro had a base hit in this game. Alfaro walked in this game. Again, he's got a familiarity with this organization and franchise as well in Miami. This is a good win. I'm 100% with you. What the Padres have done, which has impressed me a lot this year, is they're winning games in a lot of different ways. I'm surprised to see them winning high-scoring games, but they're doing it. And they're winning games where they score runs, and then the opposition scores runs, and then they pull away and score again. So they're winning some 7-6 and 6-5 games. But they're also now winning these low-scoring games, which I thought they would have to do. You know, heading into the season, I thought they'd almost have a necessity to be winning 4-3, 3-2, 2-1, as opposed to 7-6, 6-5. I thought that would be more in line with how they were winning games. I thought it would be a challenge to do it, not knowing what Taylor Rogers would be. He was acquired literally on opening day, not knowing how good this rotation would be. We had no idea. Last year, the rotation was not working consistently deep into games. There were names, but they weren't effective over the course of 162. And in the second half of the year, the rotation was as bad as there was in baseball after being pretty good in the first half of the year. So the fact that the Padres are beating people in multiple ways is what is very encouraging for me. They've beaten people with bats. Manny Machado's performances, Eric Hosmer's bat. The bullpen. The thing is, and I was critical of the bullpen earlier today on John and Jim, and we've been critical, obviously, on the wrap-up show as well. Here's the thing. When you're a really good baseball team and you have a lot of leads, it's hard to hold every single one of them. Taylor Rogers is 11 for 11 in save opportunities. And yes, the Padres have still lost 3 late leads this year. Opening day, Pittsburgh, 2 multiple run leads and a 1-run lead in the 10th inning. That's less of a story with the runner at second base, but 2 multiple run leads in that game, including as late in the 8th inning. And then the 5-2 lead yesterday. So I would say that, of course, you're going to blow leads over the course of a season. It's unreasonable to say they'll hold every late lead all year. And truth be told, they've probably been pretty good because of Taylor Rogers. If you had one more of those late leads that you held on to, let's say opening day, or let's say yesterday, I wouldn't even say it was a concern if you had one or two of those, because that pops up for good teams because you have a lot of leads. Three of them still a little high for me. To have three of those games transpire over the course of 1/6 of your season means you're on pace. And again, you can't always play the pace game. Um, but it means you're on pace to have, 15 or 20 of those where you're blowing 15 or 20 multiple run leads late in games. That would be too many for a good team. And that would be the difference between winning a division and not winning a division. Now, I don't know if it's the difference between getting to the postseason and not getting to the postseason, but it's hard to imagine they win the division if they blow 18 multiple run leads in a seventh inning scenario or later this year, right? That's how I feel right now. Um, so I'm with you. I mean, to win a game 2-1, to get effective relief pitching, and they have two really good arms in Garcia and Rogers. I think they'll have a third really good arm in Pierce Johnson. I think Robert Suarez is going to be good, although I can't trust him right now. I think Steven Wilson has been very good. I don't think he's fully trustworthy. Not his fault. Rookie. His last two times in the mound, he's blown multiple run leads. So I'm trusting two pitchers right now. And Nabil Krismat, I'd put in that category. Now, I don't see him as a high leverage guy, but I do see him as someone that's helping this team win, and has come through time and time again, in a Padres uniform. Yeah, I mean, this is the other point. And, AJ Preller, where, we could be critical, and there have been some trades that have backfired, and there have been some signings that are probably mismanaged use of funds, and you can have those conversations. I'm happy to have them. It's going to be hard to be critical of AJ Preller right now based on the way this team has played. And listen, he has acquired closers that have given this team a lot of really good innings, a ton of guys over the years. He really has, Yates, Melanson, Rogers, and others. Hand, there's been a lot of guys here over the last half decade that have been effective that AJ Preller had his hand in on. So I don't know what they would look like. Remember, I thought heading into the season, I think maybe Kevin Acee said it with us before the season started. He thought Suarez would be their closer if they didn't make a move. Robert Suarez, can you imagine if Robert Suarez was the closer on this team? And again, I'm high in his ceiling. I'm high in his upside. I don't think he'd still be closing if he, pitched like he did opening day or had his struggles through the first month of the season. But, you got one blown save. Even if Taylor Rogers had one blown save right now, it just would feel different. They say, man, they got four or five games this year already that they've lost late leads. That all of a sudden would be like a significant storyline and trend of the season. I don't think it's a story. I think it's a storyline. I don't think it's a trend because I'm very confident with Taylor Rogers and Luis Garcia. And I do believe that the bullpen will improve. I think there's guys that are going to help this bullpen over the course of the year. And ultimately, I think AJ Preller addresses it. Like if this is still a really good team, 10 games over, 15 games over, shoot 20 games over 500 the deadline, not outside the realm of possibility the way they're playing. Never say never. They're going to get Tatis back. If that's the case, if this is a really good baseball team, he'll address it. But then there's guys like Kevin Kopps and there's guys like Pierce Johnson and there's guys on rehab right now. There's a lot of names. And, they need that third or fourth. Like I thought they had 3 or 4 with Steven Wilson and Robert Suarez. It's felt like that for a moment or two this year. I don't fully trust a third reliever right now. I really don't. Let's get back to a super chat here from our buddy Spencer. Thank you for the super chat, Spencer. Thank you guys for the super chats here tonight. Thanks for hanging out. I think a lot of people are just getting back from this Padres game. Good amount of people in the chat. If you're watching live, please subscribe. We've got year-round content for Padres fans. If you're watching on replay, please make sure to subscribe as well. You can use the super chat if you're here live. You can use the thanks button if you're here on replay. Spencer, thank you again. One last thought. Biggest offseason move, Bob Melvin. Hard to argue it. I think a lot of people would have said, strictly personnel-wise, Sean Manaea. Heading into the year, this is what you're thinking. You're thinking Sean Manaea, Luke Voit. Heading into the year. Now, Voit isn't even in the conversation. I heard Ryan Christensen say today he might spend a week rehabbing now in AAA. That, to me, that's a lot of time. That's a lot of time for a position player. That tells me he's really struggling. And they're hoping he finds something in El Paso. Runs into a couple of balls over a couple of days. That would be nice. I mean, we're going to get to the middle of May. The guy hasn't homered. So that's obviously been a bit of a disaster. We'll see if he can turn that around. Sean Manaea has been really good. I don't think it's been perfect, but I think he's been really, really good. Workhorse guy, good clubhouse guy. You're seeing that as worked with Bob Melvin before. But with all that being said, Bob Melvin, there's just something about his ability as a manager that differs from some of these other managers that the Padres have had, maybe just some of the other managers in baseball, to be honest with you. His confidence, his experience, his playing days, his track record, his ability to win in Oakland with their, financial constraints. He's got a little bit of magic as a manager. He really does. I mean, he's missing one thing. It's a World Series. San Diego's missing the same thing. It's a World Series championship. That's a nice little pairing. A guy that's yearning for it and seeking it, and a city that's desperate for it. There's a little bit of magic in there, and it's early. It's really early, and seasons are topsy-turvy, and there is going to be adversity in this season. I promise you that. Almost every team has adversity, maybe outside of, 106-win Dodger team last year, 107-win Giants team last year over the course of a regular season. There's not a lot of adversity in there when you lose 50 games or 55 games, but I think this team's losing more than 55 games, if I'm being honest. I think most Padres fans feel the same way. I don't think this is a team that's going to win 107 games. I mean, Padres have never won 100 games, but man, if this is a mid-90s win team, based on where they were last year, I mean, that's a night and day. That's a night and day, and you'd have to give Bob Melvin a lot of the credit. We say it a lot on the radio. We've said it here too. This team wins. It's Bob Melvin who's going to get most of the credit. I think A.J. Preller's going to get credit, but it's going to start with Bob Melvin. He's the forward-facing figure. He's the public figure. If this team doesn't win for whatever reason, it's all squarely on A.J. Preller. Simple as that. Simple as that. Melvin's going to get credit. Preller's going to get blame. I think it's very black and white, and that's how I see it. But Spencer, it's a very, very good point. It's a really good point. Carter chiming in. I mean, we were just talking about this. I didn't see this, Carter, until I just saw it in the chat on the side of my screen. Again, pacing is a little bit of a fool's gold experiment, as we know in baseball. Not to say that it's impossible. There are teams that have paced for 100 wins that win 100 games. There's other teams that pace for 100 wins that win 68 games, probably, because there are teams over the course of baseball history that have started 17-9 and haven't been great. And there's other teams that have started 17-9 and probably won 105 games. I mean, probably, if we looked it up. So, I mean, I would take the under, right? I think most people in here would take the under. You could still have an amazing year with less than 106 wins. I think the schedule gets more challenging. I think if we were being honest, this has not been the most difficult stretch in the Padres' schedule. I think this upcoming road trip, by the way, is really a challenging one. Philadelphia's been awful, but that lineup scares me. Atlanta is the World Series champs. They've been middling. And then San Francisco to wrap it up. I think that's a pretty grueling 10 games. I think we'll learn something about this team as well over those 10 games. And then, of course, you've still got the Giants and the Dodgers, 32 combined times, something like that, 30-32 combined times. So I just saw a comment here about Tingler. Anyone see Tingler's interview after his loss as interim manager for the Twins? I'm sure the team was battling. I know he was the interim manager tonight. Were they in Baltimore? They were in Baltimore earlier today. What happens? So Baltimore beat the Twins? That's not a great loss. That's not a great loss. Yeah, those comments would be. You know what? I wish him well. I mean, I think most people do. I wish him well. But again, I mean, was he the right manager for this team at this time? No, probably wasn't. And that's not on Jace Tingler. He didn't hire himself. That's just as much on A.J. Preller as it is on Jace Tingler, Yeah, it's not a good loss, though, when you lose to Baltimore. But it's a long year. It's a very long year. And yes, Gil, I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did battle. Let's see here. A couple of other things to get to before we wrap up here. Again, what impresses me tonight is that you beat a good pitcher with a really weird turnaround, having played 2 games yesterday in Cleveland. Shoot, Miami was waiting around for you. They played yesterday afternoon. They were in San Diego well before the Padres were. They were fully rested. And you got to travel essentially through the night, have the quick turnaround. There's reasons to be, a little lethargic on a day like today, but, feeding off the home crowd. The Padres had played in front of tiny crowds in Cincinnati and Pittsburgh and Cleveland. To get home, it's got to feel good. I mean, there's very few venues right now around baseball like Petco Park. Monday through Thursday, there's not a lot of venues getting 30,000 people. I mean, there's a few. There's Fenway, there's Yankee Stadium, there's Dodger Stadium. Um, how many are there midweek that are getting 30,000 plus? 8, 10? We're one of those 8, 10. Padres last year, third in attendance. I mean, this is going to be a top 5 attendance once again. I mean, it's just a different atmosphere. Bob Melvin last year was managing in Oakland. I mean, they didn't even have, there was nobody there. There was no atmosphere. And now you look at this ballpark and every night feels like a show, feels like something special could happen. And this is without Fernando Tatis Jr. What's it going to be like when he comes back? What it's going to be like is once we get to the summer months, it's going to be 40,000 people there every single day. And this weekend is going to be packed. I know it's Miami, but there's going to be good crowds. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there'll be good crowds. And, of course, there'll be big crowds next week. The Cubs will always draw. A lot of these teams obviously will bring some fans with them. But I think they benefit from the crowd. I think they'll feed off that a little bit. I think it's absolutely beneficial. I think if the Padres were the Pirates and had to travel from San Diego after a doubleheader to then play tonight in Pittsburgh in front of no one, I think it feels different, and I think it looks different. And then, like our buddy here on Twitch is saying, make Manny's day that much more special when he's jet lagged and coming off a doubleheader, to play the way he's playing right now. I mean, it's got to be a beach ball for him. He's hitting balls hard. Everything's a seed, with exit velocity, and he doesn't have to do too much. Remember there were a couple comments he made, and I don't know if he was joking about his power being zapped over the last year or two. Doesn't seem like that right now. It seems like everything's coming easy to Manny Machado. And when it comes easy, it feels like the ball's even traveling further than it has at any point, in his Padres career. I think this is the best stretch of his Padres career. I say that, maybe the final 30 games of 2020 when he was a legit MVP candidate. Short year, though, but he was unbelievable. He had a 30-game stretch like this. We all remember it in 2020, but I think this rivals it. If we put them next to each other, I think they're very similar, what he's done here over these 26 games to what he did over maybe the last 30 or 35 in 2020. It feels really similar. At least it feels that way to me. Before we get out of here, I do want to remind you about our partner at Monkey Knife Fight. If you are a daily fantasy player, you got to consider playing daily fantasy with Monkey Knife Fight. We've got a great offer for our viewers here tonight, and the offer is simple. Click on the link down below, and if you use promo code WRAPUP, you're going to get a $100 instant match. So a $100 instant match. If you use promo code WRAPUP, you just click the link down below for Monkey Knife Fight. I'm going to pull up Monkey Knife Fight right now on my screen. If you've never played, it's daily fantasy for the rest of us. It is so simple and easy. So you get the instant deposit match up to $100. If you click the link down below, you end up on the site, and you get the free $5 game. And the free $5 game for tomorrow nets you $12.50 if you go 2 for 2 in a couple of more or less games. So all you got to do is decide whether Max Scherzer is going to have more or less than 7.5 strikeouts tomorrow for the Mets, who are rolling, by the way, and scored 7 runs in the 9th inning against the Phillies tonight. So Scherzer, more or less than 7.5 strikeouts tomorrow. And then Garrett Cole for the Yankees, more or less than 6.5 strikeouts tomorrow. Get those two things right, free $12.50. Get one of them wrong, you lose absolutely nothing. So no risk at all. Get the instant match up to $100. Just use promo code WRAPUP. There's a link down below for Monkey Knife Fight. Thank you guys, by the way. Thank you guys for hanging out tonight. Anything we missed on? Is there any topic you guys wanted me to hit more on? I'd be happy to do it here before we get out. I don't have the answers on the rotation. I think, like I've been saying a lot, it's a good problem, but it is a problem. And sooner rather than later, they're going to have to figure it out. I think they stay 6-man in the short term. I don't know what they do in the long term. So that, I think that's, probably the most pressing storyline right now. And this bullpen, again, has got to get right. You got an 8th inning guy and you got a 9th inning guy, but I don't know what you have other than that. This offense still, fully 1 through 9 clearly isn't clicking, but you can be carried when you have two players that are playing out of their mind, like Manny Machado and Eric Hosmer. So when you add all of that up, you got a 17-9 team that, could even be better, if not for a couple of blown leads. Rich, thanks for hanging. So, Rich, you were at Doctor Strange. No spoilers, guys. Now, you know me. I'm not a movie guy. I know nothing about this, but please do not spoil this for the audience. But, Rich, yeah, thank you for for hanging out here tonight. What you missed was a win, a 2-1 win. Manny Machado homering twice. Nick Martinez pitching really well. And the Padres, despite the fact that they traveled through the night and played 2 games yesterday in Cleveland, looking good, playing clean baseball. Taylor Rogers was good. You know where Jimmy is. Jimmy's on his date. Jimmy's with your tickets, man. He's impressing Laura because he's sitting downstairs because of you, Rich. So that's where he's at. That's where he's at. He's, who knows what he's doing right now with Laura. Wrong answers only. Johnny, what do you got here? We missed on more birds flying into your place. Yeah, we're not opening the window anymore. I got the screen. Actually, we're opening the window. We're just using the screen door. No more birds, please. I got enough going on, right? Got a 3-year-old doing radio shows during the day, doing radio shows at night. Got an insurance claim. Got plumbers coming out here. Need to buy a car. Yeah, please, no more birds, please. This is interesting. A win is a win. Any losses versus the Dodgers are expected without Tatis, but when he returns, look out. Yeah, again, there's no guarantee that when Fernando Tatis comes back, you're going 17-9, playing that baseball all year in the second half. But you wouldn't think it's going to hurt anything. You wouldn't. You really wouldn't. And there's a chance it really, really gets you going. There's that chance. There's a chance that he's MVP caliber for half a year. I saw an update here, Pedro, from Kevin Acee today. It wasn't anything crazy, but he is doing baseball-related activities. Kevin Acee at Petco earlier today said they still anticipate mid to late June. I don't know if that was said today by Ryan Christensen, like that exact terminology or those exact dates, but that's been tossed around. Mid to late June seemingly is realistic. That's 3 months after surgery, mid-June. It's more than 3 months after surgery, late June. So seemingly that would be realistic. Now, this was a pretty significant injury because they didn't deal with it initially. They had to go in and, have the surgery. What does that impact his power in the short term or the long term? I have no idea. I can't doubt, though. I can't question Fernando Tatis. So I say he's going to be back in mid-June. I have no clue, but he's always raring to go. He's going to be pressing for this. He's eligible to come off the first week of June, like June 6th or June 7th. So once he's eligible, he's going to be pressing to go. That's my assumption. I'd be surprised otherwise. I'd be surprised if he's not back by the end of June. Personally, obviously with no inside information, I think he's back mid-June. But I'd be shocked if he wasn't back by late June. Sam, probably accurate. Good comment. Yes, and we've gone off the rails. I think we have. All right, guys. I think we're going to do it again tomorrow night, Friday night, game 2 of the series. Again, we appreciate your support of the channel. Appreciate you guys that have hopped on the merch for the wrap-up show. I'm wearing the cap here tonight. You can check out that merch down below. Really appreciate those that have voted for us in the UT Readers Poll. There's that link down below. I want to see voting ends within the week. So if you haven't voted as of yet, we'd really appreciate the vote. We're nominated for best sports talk radio show, best talk show, best primetime show. I'm nominated somehow for best personality in San Diego. If you wouldn't mind taking the 30 seconds and clicking the link and voting for us in the UT Readers Poll, that would really mean a lot to us, seriously. So I appreciate you doing that. Feel free to screenshot it and tag us. We'll give you a shout out on Twitter at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. We really do appreciate that. So thank you guys. This has been a blast, obviously, doing the wrap-up show for you over the last 3 years, a labor of love, like we always say. It really is, with the long days and late nights, but we love it. When you love sports, when you're passionate about sports, this is a dream job, Let me get to this super. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Christopher Wright, for the super chat. Really appreciate the super chats tonight. Christopher, thank you for your viewership and being new to the show, and saying that, that we really appreciate the kind words, because we're doing it for the fans. We really are doing it for the fans. Some of you guys have probably been with us on YouTube for 7 or 8 months when we started this channel, and it was like, what are we getting ourselves into? But a lot of Padres fans were telling us that they wanted more Padres content. So we decided to create more Padres content. We talk, if you're not with us, by the way, on the radio from 3 to 6, we'd love to have you with us on the radio, on iHeartRadio. If you're outside of San Diego, if you're in San Diego, extra 1360, we're talking tons of Padres. 3 to 6, Monday through Friday. We've got Kevin Acey on the show tomorrow. Bob Scanlon should be on the show. I hope he's on the show. He's been doing some play-by-play this week. I'm not sure. Jesse Agler mentioned something with his family. Hopefully everything's all right with Jesse and his family, but Bob Scanlon's been doing play-by-play. He's supposed to join us tomorrow. I think we'll have someone from Mad Friars tomorrow as well. So really good show lined up on the radio. You can listen back on podcast, iHeart, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Spotify. So if you miss anything, lots of Padres content for you. Christopher, thank you for saying that, though. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Yeah, we'll do some Twitter Spaces, Carter. I know we said we would do some. I think we've done one this year. We need to do more, and we will. We'll do some Twitter Spaces. I need to do a San Diego State Twitter Spaces, actually, after a commitment they grabbed within the last 48 hours. That's on my list as well. So, yeah, we'll get to all of it. It's a long season. This is funny, Johnny. Yes, softest. If there was a category, we'd clearly win that. If there's one thing we'd win, it would be softest. What are the odds we win any of these 4 categories? I have no idea. I mean, with the support of you guys, maybe we get one of them. Maybe that's a possibility. So thank you. If you could take the minute to vote for us in that link down below, thank you guys. Spencer, yeah, we'll do the spaces are fun. I mean, we've done them over the last couple of years. We're trying to get to where Padres fans are. If it's Twitter, if it's YouTube, if it's Facebook, if it's Instagram. We've been doing some Instagram reel stuff. So you can follow us on Instagram at John and Jim. Thank you guys, those hanging out on Twitch. You guys are great. Thank you here again, our buddy. How do I say this, by the way? Pep to Hooligan? Is it Pep to Hooligan? You're a great loyal viewer. And thank you here for the all kinds of content for you guys. And thanks for hanging out. Was Angel Hernandez? He was all right, wasn't he? We'll leave with that. Was Angel Hernandez good? That was bizarre. We caught Angel Hernandez on his best night, which is good for the Padres. Things are going well for the Padres. Now 17-9. Please support our partners, Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. I swung by his office today in Poway. Please support Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance, Auto, Home, Renter's Life. He can save you $750. $750 on your insurance. So please, again, support Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance, Ora.organic. If you have any needs, ORA.organic. Again, great products, all these plant-based supplements, Ora.organic. And of course, Monkey Knife Fight, use promo code WRAPUP. I see some comments coming in about Dexter Fowler. I can hit on that real quick. Hold on, let me just quickly pull it up. So was he released? Is that what happened? Was he DFA'd? Big Island Bump, thanks for hanging out. Was Dexter Fowler DFA'd today with the Angels? He's only appeared in 7 games. 536 OPS, but his batting average was 250. He was 5 for 20 this year. You look at what he did in St. Louis. Or was that last year with the Angels? He hasn't played this year in the big leagues, has he? Has he played this year in the big leagues? I'm trying to do this on the fly. But, you look at Fowler, I'm looking at it. I mean, he hasn't had an OPS over 754 since 2017. That's kind of been a while. You got a switch hitter in there, and you got a guy that can obviously play in the outfield for you, and he's not a kid. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what type of impact it would make, guys. I mean, it's depth. It's depth, definitely. Is it an impact piece at this point in his career? Probably not. But considering your outfield issues and the fact that it's a veteran presence and a guy spent a lot of time in the big leagues, I mean, maybe it's worth a flyer. If he was in the minors or the Blue Jays. Thank you, Phil. And thank you, Big Island Bump. So released from minor league deal. I mean, I don't know, guys. What do you think? I really don't know. I mean, 7 games in 2021, no games in 2022. Hasn't hit for the better part of the last 3 or 4 years. Little bit of a stretch, but then again, Grisham, Myers, Profar, these are all stretches too. So, maybe it is worth a flyer, maybe it is. All right, I'm out of here. Subscribe, hit the like button, follow us on Twitter at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD, at John and Jim. Thank you guys. Peace out. Phil saying he'd rather have Upton. We'll see you tomorrow night. Peace. Thanks, guys.